What are the best wall colors for your home office? So there's three things that I want you guys to keep in mind before you consider choosing a color for your office. The first one is I want you to ask yourself, what is this office going to be used for? Some of you guys may want your office to be used for work, clearly, right? Because some of you guys are probably working from home and you have to do all these Zoom meetings or what have you online. Some of you guys probably want a home office because you want this home office to be a space where you work on a side business or a side hustle. Some of you guys probably want an office that is maybe the kids are going to use it, your teenagers or your college children when they come and visit in case they are living on campus. So that could be, a reason why that office is going to be used. Another thing can be is maybe you want this office to be strictly for your arts and crafts because you love doing arts and crafts and you just need a space for that. Or maybe you're going to use that home office because that's your safe space. You want this place to be somewhere where you read books or where you just do a lot of personal development. So I want you to consider all those things first before we jump into, the color that you want for this home office. The second thing that I want you to ask yourself is, and you want to consider as well, is, well, what feelings do I want this home office to evoke? How do I want to feel in this home office? Do you want to feel happy? Do you want to feel productive? Do you want to feel relaxed and calm? Or do you want to feel excited in this office or inspired? There's a lot of feelings that some people tend to go towards, and this is also something super important that you want to consider before you choose a color, and I'll get into that in just a moment. And the other thing that you definitely want to consider and ask yourself is, am I able to paint my walls? Some of you guys probably live in an apartment or you're renting a place. And I know that they have these, legalities where, if you paint the walls, we're not going to give you your deposit back, or you're just going to have to paint those walls the way it was before. And I don't know if you have the time to do any of that later on. So this is why you want to ask yourself, am I able to paint the walls? Granted, if you already own your home, and this is your space and you can do whatever you want, and you're one of those lucky ones that you can just paint away and paint it as many times as you'd like. So those are things that I definitely want you guys to consider when trying to select a color. And I don't know if anybody has ever mentioned this to you before, but now you know. Now, when I'm talking about, painting the walls of your space, a lot of there's a ton of colors, and I know that it can be super overwhelming in choosing a color, and I know it could probably be hard not knowing where to start. So if you are finding yourself in this situation, do know that there's like the psychology of color. There's a lot of research done on various colors and the types of feelings that people feel with these colors. So I have here various paint chip samples that I want to share with you as well in terms of the various colors that I'm going to share. So it is highly recommended for people to, and oftentimes too, a lot of people choose a lot of neutrals, especially for people that are not comfortable diving in and choosing a bold color. So it does take a courageous person and somebody who's super brave to choose a color, especially a bold color. So I totally understand that. So I want to share with you guys some neutrals and colors that are like beige and things of that nature are colors that you can consider for your office, especially if you're somebody who's not ready to jump in and select a bold color. So we have warm neutrals, and then there's also cool neutrals that you can choose from. So these are paint chip samples from Dunn Edwards, and I want to share with you. Hopefully you can see what they look like. But as you can see, there's various colors, but they all fall under the warm neutrals. And then we also have cool neutrals that you can choose from as well. And so you can see the large variety of neutrals in here. Okay, so if we compare both of them, and hopefully you can see, there's a large variety. Okay, so I just want you to start thinking of ideas as you see these colors, and hopefully your wheels are turning right now. Now, the other colors that are also highly recommended for your office is colors that are earth tones, right? Like blues, greens, and also yellows. These colors, yellows, make people feel happy. And the earth tones like blues and greens make people feel calm, relaxed, and at peace as well. So here's the yellows, and like I said, there's like a wide spectrum of colors, and I just want you to take a look at all the various colors that fall under yellows and some greens and semi-oranges. So, you know, can you imagine trying to pick one out of all of those? Yes. And then now we also have the green ones. So let's go ahead and take a look at the various greens. And here we go. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so here you go. Various greens in this color palette. And now, last but not least, we have the blues. Here we go. So there's a lot of colors, as you can see. Now, another thing that you want to ask yourself is, well, what is my favorite color? Well, if your favorite color happens to fall under any of these various categories that I just shared with you, then that's awesome, because that color is also going to help inspire you and be more productive in your home office. So if you love blue, then guess what? You have so many blues to choose from that you can choose for your office. And it just depends on how bold and courageous you are as what type of color you want to choose, or if you want to go with something a lot lighter or more subtle, then that's an option. And as an example, when I was in graduate school working on my master's for school counseling, I had a roommate at the time, and God bless her soul, because she passed away a couple of years back, but her name's Angie. And Angie loved blue. So what she did at her she had a condominium. So she chose a blue for all the walls in the entire home. And the blue, I'm trying to figure out which blue it was so that you guys can have a better idea as I'm sharing this story with you. I think it was in between one of these two colors. One of these two colors. And I don't know if you can tell the difference because of the lighting that I have in here. But anyway, this was in Bakersfield. So go ahead and put a 1 if you have ever visited Bakersfield, California, or know where that is. So if you know about Bakersfield, you'll know that in the winter it is super, super cold. And in the summer it is excruciating hot. It's unbelievable like how hot it is. And it tends to get really hot around probably April, from what I recall, because I was just there. I lived there for only 3 years. But anyway, I just want to give you a little bit of context background. So when I moved into her home, because you know she was my roommate for about a year, and I saw the color of her walls. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome, because you don't typically see walls in that color, and not a lot of people are courageous or brave to do that. And I loved it. It was different, and it looked very pretty in her home. And I started to notice, and mind you, this is before I studied interior design. So I had no knowledge of, you know, how colors make you feel or the psychology behind it. Maybe a little bit, because I used to kind of dabble and do a little bit of research here and there because it was another interest of mine. But anyway, mind you, like I said, I didn't have any interior design knowledge or background. And I started to notice that the color blue when it was, you know, in the wintertime, like I mentioned, it's extremely cold. And yeah, we would put on the heater and that made the place warm and it felt nice. But there were times where just because the color blue can also make people feel cold, sometimes the home felt a lot colder than what it was because of the color, and it was everywhere, every single wall. So I remember thinking, oh my gosh, it's winter and the walls are blue and it just feels so cold. And it could have been psychological at that time, but I noticed that once spring hit and once we were gonna get closer to summer, it was getting hot, so we had to turn on the AC. But the color, because the walls are that blue, it felt so much cooler and it felt so good. Like being outside, coming from the university or coming from work and coming home, knowing that it's super hot outside, and then just stepping inside of the home with these blue walls, it felt so amazing and it felt cool. And granted, yes, the AC was on, but it was just a more enhanced feeling. And I don't know how else to describe it. And I don't know if anybody else on here can relate to that. But it was just such a fascinating thing. And ever since that experience, it always brings me back to whenever I talk about colors, I think about that experience. And it's just so fascinating what colors can do and how they make you feel. So anyway, I hope that these insights have helped you in some way. So again, let's do a quick recap. Remember, the few things you want to ask yourself before choosing a color is: one, what is that home office going to be used for? Number two, what feelings are you looking for to feel in this office? And number three, are you able to paint your walls in your home? And one other thing that I wanted to point out is that if you cannot paint the walls of your home office, but you do want to incorporate color, you can do so by using decorations. And that can include pillows, it can include furniture, it can include other forms of decorations that you put on the walls, like frames, picture frames, artwork, or things of that nature. So if you're not ready to dive in and choose a bold color the way Angie did when she chose a blue for her walls in her entire home, then choose something more neutral that you're comfortable with, and then add those pops of color to help evoke those feelings that you're looking for. Okay? So I hope this helped you out. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or any comments, feel free to put them down in the drop box or down in the chat box, or you can send me a direct message and I'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you. Okay? And one other thing, if you don't mind, please go ahead and share this if any of this information was insightful to you or helped you in some shape or form. That way more people get the same knowledge that you have received today. Thank you so much and have a great day. Hi everyone, I am Aurora with DawnDuskDesigns, and I help busy women and professionals through my interior design services save time by transforming and functional spaces in their homes so that they can live in comfort and ease. Thank you guys for joining me today. If this is your first time, welcome. And first of all, I want to give a huge shout out and a thank you to one of my followers for asking this question. He was curious to know what are the best colors to choose for his home office, as I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably still working from home due to everything that's going on in our society. Or maybe that's not the case for you. You just do have maybe a space in your home and you want that to be strictly a home office. So hopefully the insights that I will be sharing with you today will assist you in some shape or form. So again, thank you to my follower for asking that. So this video is for you.